What's good, YouTube? I'm back here again with another video today, and we're going to be talking some more 49ers football. I've got the five most crucial games today on the 49ers schedule for 2021. And I'm going to be factoring in things like travel, things like strength of the team, but also things like who are they playing next, who are they playing beforehand, what's involved in that game, where it's being played, and all these different factors to kind of give you guys the five most crucial games, but also talk about the rest of the schedule in a way. I know most of these games are probably going to be division games just because those are the most crucial games normally in a season, but I'll tell you why and for what reasons I have other games as well. Before we start, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure that you drop a like on the video. Thank you guys so much for the support on the last couple of videos, but let's get right into it. So, the first important game, I guess, is week one, but I'm not including that just because, week one is where you're finally getting acclimated back into NFL football, where the starters are playing most of the games. And I think that it's an honorable mention just because you're going to see Nick Bosa and D Ford finally back on the field for a significant amount of time. I know D Ford might be on like a little bit of a limitation, but I think Nick Bosa should be up and ready to go. And the good thing is that they're playing the Detroit Lions, albeit in Detroit, but one of the worst teams in the NFL this year. So if they can get out to a nice substantial lead early on, and if they can sustain that substantial lead, those players may have some more time to rest as well, and that would improve their health for the next couple of games. So that's an honorable mention just because it's week one where people are getting acclimated back into it. You're going to see a lot of these players who were injured last year get back into the game and actually play significant amount of time. And we're also going to see some nice 49er football where you're going to include the runs, the play action, and everything back and like correlating with each other. With Jimmy Garoppolo probably out there for like a good amount of the game. Maybe Trey Lance gets some reps. I said he'd be an inactive in my last video just because I don't know that he's going to be ready enough to be healed. So I think that they bring Nate Sudfeld up from the practice squad. But that's an honorable mention for the first game. So, coming in at the fifth most important game for the 49ers, I have their week 13 matchup. It's a division matchup against the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. If we look at the schedule revolving around that game, the 49ers are at home the week before facing Minnesota. And then right after that, they are on the road again facing Cincinnati. But the reason this is the most important game, this is the second game in the year that they face Seattle, which means this is the last game where playoff implications are going to probably be mattering more. And that head to head matchup for playoff seeding is going to be mattering a lot more. But I think this is also a most important game because this is where they finally get into that beginning of the last stretch. And they had an early bye week as well in week 6. So they've been going on for 7, 8 weeks now, like going, or 5, 6 weeks, just going on full energy. This is where it kind of gets wear and tear. And the problem is, this is also on Sunday Night Football. Pressure is on because it's a highlight game. And I know that, that normally doesn't play in a factor, but it's also one of the more important games under a very, very big microscope. So that's why I have this one here. The reason I don't have it higher is because the schedule around it. They face Jacksonville in week 11. They face Minnesota in week 12, uh, Cincinnati in 14, and Atlanta in 15. I think the schedule around it's a little softer, so they might be coming off some momentum, which is why I think that they might have a higher confidence going into the Seattle game, which is going to play in their favor. But nonetheless, Seattle is a very, very important division rival, and they're going to be one of the teams vying for a playoff spot, just like the 49ers. So these head to head matchups are going to matter that much more. Moving to the fourth most crucial game on the schedule, I have the 49ers week 3 matchup at home against Green Bay. Now, I hope this is going to be the first game that I report live, which would be cool. But getting back to topic, the 49ers are going to play Green Bay in week 3 after playing Detroit and Philadelphia both on the road in week 2. So it's a little bit of a road trip to the east and then coming back home. But the reason this is the most important, or not the most, but the fourth most important, is because this is the first time the 49ers are going to be facing some real action in terms of the Green Bay Packers are one of the more like one of the Super Bowl contenders. Unfortunately, Detroit and Philadelphia don't even fall close to that realm. So it's their first real competition. And if they lose one of the first two games, that's going to be a huge blow, especially going into Green Bay. going into this Green Bay matchup at home, because the pressure then comes on a lot more. You don't want to end up after week 3 with a losing record with Seattle right after that. That's not exactly what the 49ers want. But this Green Bay matchup is also huge because Aaron Rodgers is now coming back. Going into the offseason, a lot of people probably planning for Jordan Love, although obviously NFL teams have a backup plan always in place. But, Jordan Love was the guy who they've been throwing out in practice. Aaron Rodgers was holding out, all this, all that. Aaron Rodgers is back in the fold, and that team is automatically back to Super Bowl contention. So that's their first real test, and that's why I have them at fourth. The reason I don't have them earlier is because it's super early in the season. So the 49ers can obviously turn it around should they lose this matchup. And also, this is not that big of a deal, or it is a big deal, but it's not as big of a deal as a division rival game where the seeding matters much more there, because one game could switch up who's leading the division. One game could switch up, the head-to-head ranking, which obviously matters come playoff time because some team might get in and some team might not get in. That's why I have this game at fourth. Moving on to the third most important game on the 49ers schedule, we have another division game. And this time it's week 5 against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, looking at the schedule before, it is brutal. You've got week 3, you're facing Green Bay. Week 4, you're facing Seattle. Both of those games are at home. But you travel to Arizona in week 5. And should anything falter between those first 4 weeks, you're facing a brutal test in another division rival where the game matters a lot because of the head-to-head ranking, as I just said. And you're going to Arizona to do so. The reason that this game isn't higher on this list, because it should be following that 3-week stretch, is because the 49ers have a bye week right after this, and they also can face redemption in week 9 when they face Arizona again. And that one's at home after a favorable matchup, probably against Chicago. So they're also going into the bye week where they're going to be a little more rested. But this is the part of the season where you're hoping that you're not slogging and you're not behind, because all of these division games you're going to have 2 in a row here, and you have to at least win one of them, but most likely want to win 2 of them, especially with Seattle being at home, because of the importance of division games in this new NFC West, right? Because all 4 teams are playoff caliber teams. So it's really important that the 49ers pull out of this 5-game or 3-game stretch, and the most important game out of those is the Arizona game, just because it comes at the end where, the other 2, the outcomes are already done. You already know what's happening. You're either going to have good confidence, you might have low confidence, and you have to rebound back and go into this Arizona game at the Arizona Stadium. That's why it comes in at number 3, because I think that this game is more important than Green Bay's, because it's the end of the series where, you're a little more tired, and also you've faced the other 2 teams. And also it's ahead of week 13 just because week 13 has more of a favorable schedule around it. So this is why I've got this at number 3. Coming in at number 2 on this list, I have the Tennessee Titan game in week 16. Looking at a little context, the 49ers play the Atlanta Falcons in week 15, and they play the Houston Texans in week 17. So why the hell is this game so high on my 5 most crucial games? Well, I'll tell you exactly why. Tennessee's game is at Tennessee, and it comes on a short week. They're playing Thursday night that week against Tennessee in the cold Tennessee weather in a December game. It's right around Christmas, so it's going to be cold, and it's also a short week. But most importantly, they're traveling on a short week as well. One of the more important things is that the 49ers have a week 6 bye week, and there are 18 weeks now in this new schedule, so it's super early compared to what they normally have or what they previously had, where it would be closer to mid-season, and that'd give them enough time for them to rest up and charge up for the second half of the season. But now, since it's early, and especially with the injury bug that hit him last year, when you're going this far without a break, and especially on a short week, you face a bit of that injury bug. And not even always is that injury bug happening, but you might have to practice a little less sometimes, just so you don't get that injury bug problem. And that leaves conditioning risks. That leaves all these other risks on the field, which hurts you on game day. Because guess what? Maybe if the other team was fully rested and they had a better shot, they'd be a lot more ready. The Titans don't have as bad of a travel because they are going from Pittsburgh to Tennessee. So it's not as bad. But I understand they're traveling as well. But this game is that crucial because with playoff implications certainly in place there, this is one of their key opponents down the stretch. They have one more game after this that is like a key opponent. And remember in 2019, the 49ers did falter a little down the stretch when they lost to Arizona on that Julio Jones last second touchdown. Those are the games that you don't want to lose, especially in this close division race. So, coming this far into the season with little rest after week 6 and off a short week, this game is a crucial game for the 49ers, especially for them to remain healthy and for them to get a win so that they can continue improving for their playoff race. And the most important game is the same important game that happened 2 years ago, the last game of the year. This time, we are facing Los Angeles in Los Angeles for a Week 18 showdown with the Rams. And the 49ers have a little bit of a favorable schedule coming into this game with the Houston Texans beforehand. And also, because Los Angeles is so close, it's not as much of a travel week. And so this game, it's going to be an important game. It's right now a 125 game. I don't think there is a 520 game or a Sunday night football game on the last week of the year. I'm not exactly sure. But going on to topic, this is a huge game because obviously with the playoff implications. 2 years ago, the winner of this was the 1 seed, the loser of this was the 5 seed. It's that different. And you obviously want to be a top 2 seed, preferably a top seed, because of that like the home field advantage, and also maybe a bye week so that you can rest, which would be so crucial for the 49ers, given that they have a week 6 bye. So that'd give them an extra week of rest before actually playing again, which would be amazing for the 49ers. But I think that this is also an important game because in week 10, the Los Angeles Rams are in Santa Clara to play the 49ers, but that's coming off another 2-game brutal stretch where they face the Arizona Cardinals in week 9 at home and then the Los Angeles Rams in week 10 at home. And I know both are home games, but they're against huge opponents. So if the 49ers do lose that game, that even puts more pressure on this game because you don't want to lose that head-to-head matchup. You want to make sure that either stays even or you're winning it so that when playoff time comes, you're not at a disadvantage. I think that it's pretty self-explanatory otherwise because this is probably the two favorites right to win the division going ahead head to head. So getting a win at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, that would be key, especially if you had to go there anytime like during the postseason, or even if that means that winning that game means you win the division, so you get home field advantage, which would be another victory for the 49ers. So that's why this game is so crucial for them, and that's why I have it at number 1 on my most crucial games. But guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to continue to drop videos. I'm going to continue to drop articles. I think the next one I have is the 5 reasons why the 49ers will make the playoffs after dropping the 5 potential roadblocks, because we're definitely not all negative here. But thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to drop the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you're still here. And comment down below what you think are some of the more crucial games for the 49ers. Thank you. Interact with me on Twitter, and I'll see you next time. Peace.